The rotors are already turning. April 11th, 2026, 0127 local time. 58 nautical miles southwest of Bandar Abbas, the USS Tripoli rides blacked out in the dark. No running lights, no broadcast traffic, no electronic signature it does not absolutely need. Tonight, the amphibious assault ship gives them nothing useful. On the flight deck, two CH-53K King Stallions sit heavy and impatient, their blades chewing the humid air at low idle. They have been hot for nearly 20 minutes. Staff Sergeant Delia Okafor checks her fast rope glove one last time and bumps shoulders with the Marine beside her. 12 recon Marines, 4 MARSOC operators, 1 extraction. The mission sounds small, only on paper. 3 miles inside the shipping corridor, the container vessel MV Crestfield has been dead in the water since 2300 hours. But no propulsion, no lights, no declared distress. Somewhere aboard it, a compromised intelligence asset has been waiting in the dark while currents and patrol patterns close around him. The chart says, International Waters. Bird 1 lifts first. The King Stallion noses off the Tripoli's deck, clears the island, and banks northeast into a darkness so complete it seems to swallow the aircraft whole. The strait looks narrow from above. In the cockpit tonight, every mile feels like borrowed airspace. Her earpiece clicks. The pilot's voice is even, stripped of emotion by habit. Target vessel bearing 047, wind 15 knots, 8 minutes out. 8 minutes. Below, the water is moving fast. The current in the strait pushes northeast at this hour, rough enough to throw white chop bright across the lenses. But Bird 2 tucks in off the right side of their formation, around 200 meters away, close enough for Okafor to make out the crew chief standing dark in the open door. Both aircraft stay low, threading a corridor between radar coverage off the Iranian coast and the legal line of the Omani boundary. There is almost no room to drift, no room to improvise, no room to be noticed early. At 6 minutes out, the first problem appears. A shape breaks low over the water from the south, running dark, fast, and flat. Then 2 more emerge behind it, spreading wide in a loose fan. Fast attack craft. No navigation lights, no radio call, no reason to be there unless they are searching for something or someone. The pilot does not raise his voice. He only watches the geometry change. Okafor feels Bird 1 bank a fraction left. Patrol boats are PACAP class or something close enough not to matter. Short-legged, fast, aggressive. They are not pointing directly at the helicopters yet, but their sweep pattern is cutting toward the same water the helicopters need for final approach. The important question becomes timing. The Crestfield appears at 4 miles, a long dead silhouette against the moving dark. The container ship sits slightly low to starboard, maybe a 3-degree list, enough to catch the eye even through green glass. No deck lights, no visible crew, no signal. That could mean the asset is hiding exactly as instructed. Then, another update comes across the net. Second cluster north, possible shore battery wake up south of Keshem. There it is. The margin gets thinner. No one in the hold says a word. One operator tightens his rappel rig with slow, deliberate hands. Another stretches his neck once and goes still. Captain Reyes, leading the MARSOC detachment, looks across the dim red wash and meets Okafor's eyes. One nod. She gives it back. The southern runners are accelerating now, cutting water on a converging line toward the Crestfield. Maybe they are sweeping blind. Maybe they saw movement. It changes nothing. Their window is closing the same way either way. Bird 1 adjusting direct, 2 minutes. A breath of static. Fast rope, standby. The crew chief slides the side door farther open and the wind punches into the cabin like a living thing. Salt, diesel. A chemical edge from tanker traffic hanging low over the corridor. Okafor moves first, clipping in, boots planted, shoulders squared to the open black. Below, on the Crestfield's foredeck rises through the rotor wash in violent pieces. A wet rectangle of steel, cargo fittings, hatch covers, and shadow. The crane housing is her reference point. She aims just aft of it where the deck gives a sliver of usable space, 60 feet, 40, 20. The rope tightens in her gloves. The helicopter is still moving. The ship is still rolling under it. She drops. Impact. Knees flex. 1 step. 2. Clear the rope. Move left. She does not look up. The next man is already sliding down above her. Then the next. Somewhere south of the ship, an engine note rises sharp over the rotor wash. The patrol craft are close enough now to hear without the radio telling them so. 12 seconds into the insertion, the last operator hits the deck. Bird 1 banks away hard, climbing and peeling right, drawing eyes with it, trading altitude and noise for half a minute of confusion, maybe less. Okafor is already moving. The Crestfield's main deck runs nearly 180 meters from bow to stern, cluttered by hatch tracks, lashing points, stacked frames, and blind spots that night vision only makes stranger. The MARSOC team breaks left. Recon holds the center line. No white light, no spoken noise they do not absolutely need. Every shadow stutters with the motion of the sea. The asset is supposed to be sheltering in the forward crew compartment. Supposed to be. Port hatch, Reyes says softly. A beat later comes the swallowed pop of a seal breaking. Inside, the geometry closes around them. Steel walls, low overhead, narrow passage, single file movement. Even careful footfalls ring differently in a ship than they do on land, and there is no way to make deck steel disappear under boots. They move anyway. 1 compartment, 2, no blue chem light, no voice, no movement. 2nd compartment clear, 3rd clear, then a scrape, just enough. Okafor's fist goes up and the column stops as one body. 3 seconds later, a voice crawls out of the dark in rough English, code word Meridian. They find him behind a collapsed bunk frame, folded into a space no human being would choose unless waiting had become worse than pain. Mid-50s, civilian clothes, left arm braced hard against his ribs. He does not ask who they are. He already knows enough. On your feet, Okafor tells him. We move now. He stands because standing is simpler than staying. Above them, a different sound cuts in, deeper than rotor wash, closer than it should be. One of the patrol boats has come alongside, not colliding, not boarding yet, but near enough that its wake slaps the hull and shifts the ship under their boots. Everyone inside widens stance automatically. Then Bird 2 arrives. The 2nd King Stallion comes in from the northeast, so low and so aggressively that the downwash hammers the superstructure like a physical strike. It is a distraction and a risk. A 30-second promise from the pilots that they will hold the hover in a place where being seen gets expensive fast. The nearest patrol craft reacts immediately, cutting throttle and drifting for a breath, while its crew tries to decide whether to track the helicopter, the ship, or the water around both. The thermal masking is not magic. It only has to buy uncertainty. 30 seconds, foredeck extraction, move. Reyes takes the asset by the elbow, and the column drives back out the way it came, faster now. Still controlled, but with no wasted motion left. The Crestfield drops into a trough and rises hard enough to throw shoulders into the bulkheads. Nobody falls, nobody pauses. When they hit open deck again, the situation is worse than before. 3 dark patrol craft are now so close that the gap between their hulls and the container ship has shrunk to little more than 2 ship lengths. Their crews show as pale fragments under night vision, faces and hands catching green light. One boat has activated a bow-mounted spotlight and is sweeping it in slow arcs over spray, railings, and steel. Not fixed yet. Searching. Bird 2 holds above the foredeck with the hoist already coming down, cables swaying in the wind and rotor blast. Basket first, Reyes snaps. Asset goes first. The spotlight sweeps wider. On its next pass, it lingers longer over the foredeck foam kicked up by the helicopter. That is enough. The nearest patrol craft changes pitch immediately, engines rising as the crew finally decides they have found something worth committing to. The basket touches steel. The asset climbs in with help, slower than anyone wants, faster than fear should allow. Reyes clips the safety strap across his chest and throws the signal upward. Hoist! The basket starts rising. Seconds now have shape. 17, 16, 15. At 14 seconds, the spotlight locks onto the foredeck. The beam washes white across two operators flattened against a container frame. Neither moves. The hoist keeps climbing. The basket reaches the door. Hands grab the asset and pull him inside. The rest of the team is already setting the next sequence. The nearest patrol craft surges forward, bow lifting as it closes the last distance to the Crestfield's hull. They are not trying to ram, they are trying to board. A hook, a ladder, the anchor chain, any way up before the helicopter clears. Last two, move! Okafor clips in first. Behind her, Gunnery Sergeant Quanis is already on the line. Bird 2 tilts forward into the beginning of its egress turn. The rope goes taut, then slack, then taut again as the pilot trades hover stability for escape speed. The spotlight never leaves the deck. Below, the metal strikes steel with a hard, unmistakable clang. Grappling hook. They made the chain. Bird 2 clears the superstructure at 40 feet and starts climbing. Salt wind tears past the open hatch. Okafor does not let herself breathe fully until the deck falls away beneath her and hands catch her harness at the door, dragging her into the cabin. Hormuz becomes a black-framed void beyond the open side, screaming past its speed. She counts automatically. 11, 12. Quanis crashes in beside her and slams back against the bulkhead, chest pumping, nodding once just to say he is still here. Across from them, the asset sits strapped into a crash seat, wrapped now in a thermal blanket from the crew. He stares through everyone and everything. Whatever he knows has not settled into language yet. The pilot comes over the intercom. All stations, extraction complete. Egressing south-southwest, Bird 1 rejoined. No cheering, no release, not over this water. They run dark on the way back, descending lower than comfort and angling away from the corridor before making for the amphibious group. The patrol craft that nearly made the board hesitate at the decisive second. Whether from uncertainty, fear of escalation, or simple confusion at the helicopters breaking away, the result is the same. By the time they commit, the heavy lifters are already gone. 40 minutes later, the USS Tripoli receives them. Both King Stallions settle onto the deck within moments of each other, wheels kissing non-skid, rotors still thrashing the humid dark as deck crews rush in low and fast. Chocks slam into place. Hands signal. Figures crouch against the blast. The Oteti, a Navy intelligence officer, is already moving across the flight deck toward the asset, carrying a blanket and a dented steel thermos. Nobody greets anyone like heroes. Not yet. Too many missions go wrong in the minutes after everyone thinks they are finished. By 0340, an official line is approved for release. U.S. forces conducted a non-combatant evacuation operation in international waters. All personnel are accounted for. One sentence, clean, bloodless, useless. It says almost nothing about the last 2 hours. By 0600, the Crestfield is still adrift. No power, no deck crew visible. 2 Iranian Coast Guard vessels circle it from a distance and do not attempt to board. They did not board during the night either. The grappling hook caught. The chance existed. The commitment did not. Somewhere in Tehran, once that hesitation will be studied frame by frame. The 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit's Ready Group remains 30 miles southwest of the strait, neither withdrawing nor pushing forward. We are still here. We can still reach in. Below the Tripoli's island, in the intelligence processing space, the rescued asset is on his 3rd cup of coffee and his 2nd straight hour of questioning. The debrief team works with patient voices and careful sequencing. They know better than to rush a source who spent 12 hours waiting to be found on a powerless vessel inside a monitored shipping lane. Piece by piece, whatever he carried out of that ship begins to surface. Some fragments are already moving up the chain through encrypted channels. Others stay in the compartment because they do not fit the expectations built into the mission. In the operations center, a watch officer circles a line of data on a tablet and passes it up. The senior officer reads it once, then a second time, slower. He sets the tablet down with a controlled hand, which is the clearest sign in the room that the information matters. What came off the Crestfield is not just reporting on one target, one meeting, or one shipment. It is a pattern, multiple nodes, multiple handoffs, timelines layered over shipping movements and coastal response windows. Something larger has been assembling quietly, hidden inside ordinary maritime traffic, and the breakdown aboard a drifting container ship forced a frightened man to trigger an extraction he had been told never to request. Outside the Strait of Hormuz is technically open. Tankers are moving again. The pre-dawn slowdown that pinched traffic around 0200 has loosened. Giant merchant hulls are once more threading the narrow water with running lights bright and indifferent, carrying a staggering share of the planet's oil through 21 miles of sea that everyone uses and nobody fully trusts. But one of those ships is wrong. It is moving on a heading that does not match its filed route. Not by a little, by enough. The watch officer reaches for the radio before anyone tells him to. Out on the dark water, 30 miles to the southwest, the gray formation has already started to turn.